Okay, so guys, no, our next topic is about the epithelial tissue. But before that, okay, let's discuss first, no, tissue concept and classification. Okay, so first, you all know, okay, that when we say tissue, okay, we're referring to groups, okay, or aggregates of cells, okay, that are organized to perform one or more specific functions, okay. So, like for example, the cells, okay, of the kidney, okay, or yeah, the kidney are joined together, okay, are grouped together to perform now the function of that organ. We have functions of filtration, okay, function of absorption, okay. So when we say tissue, okay, we're referring to a word, okay, that um, is actually from the French word tissu, which means woven, okay, and your in Latin, which means texto or to weave. Okay? So, kasi nga, sabi natin, okay, tissues are aggregates, okay, of small units. Okay? And for our body, okay, for the tissues, okay, we have in the body, these are actually aggregates, okay, of cells. Okay? So, despite their disparate structure and physiologic properties, all organs are made, okay, of our four basic types of tissues. Okay? So, this is actually, or the discussion of these four basic types of tissues, okay, is actually the heart, okay, of this subject. So, we have, of course, your epithelial tissue, okay, your connective tissue, and of course, your muscular tissue. So, I believe, guys, no, alam nyo naman, okay, yung mga basic function, okay, nung mga tissues natin na to. So, in this topic, we will just have an overview, okay, of these four basic types of tissues, okay? So, of course, the four basic types of tissues, guys, contain now these main components. They have the cells and, of course, the extracellular matrix. Okay? So, when we say extracellular matrix, we're referring, okay, to the components, okay, that or components other than your cells. Okay? So, it includes now the fluid-like components, okay, of ours um, tissues, okay, that are other, okay, than your cells. So, guys, no, we have here a table, okay. So, this table is showing you now the how do you call this one? The characteristic of our four basic types of tissues in terms of their extracellular matrix content, okay, and of course their function. Okay. So guys, know your nervous tissue, okay, they are usually composed of intertwining elongated or cells with intertwining and elongated processes, okay, and little to no high amount of extracellular matrix. So their main function is transmission of nerve impulses. Okay. And then also we have there your epithelial. Okay. So your epithelial tissue, okay, are aggregates, okay, of polyhedral cells. So they contain no small amount of extracellular matrix. And of course, alam naman nating lahat no that the function, okay, of your epithelium is to line surfaces now. So it's for covering, okay? Kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na covering epithelium, okay? And of course, we also have for secretion, okay? And we're talking here dun sa mga glandular, okay, na mga epithelial tissues natin. Like, for example, yun pong inyong mga exocrine glands. Okay? And then we also have your muscle tissue. So, your muscle tissue is made up of your elongated contractile cells. So, later, pagdating natin doon, we will be discussing no, the different types, okay, of muscle tissues. So, we have your cardiac muscle, your skeletal, and your smooth muscle. Okay? So the extracellular matrix component is usually moderate, okay, in amount. And of course, we know, okay, that the function of your muscle is for locomotion or movement, okay? And then we also have here your connective tissues. So for your connective tissue, guys, no, the cells, okay, that are or the cells now that comprise now our connective tissue, they can either be fixed or they can be wandering cells. So example po ng mga wandering cells natin ay yung mga nasa blood cells natin, di ba? Like for example, your um, white blood cells. So other than them being present po sa ating blood, they can also migrate, di ba, doon sa ating mga how do you call this one? Sa other tissues natin, sa epithelium, for example. Like for example, kapag nagkaroon tayo ng infection or ng cut, di ba, they migrate dun sa site of inflammation. Okay? So, their function there is, of course, to arrest, okay, yung infection. So, wandering cells. Okay? And then, for fixed cells, okay, we have, for example, the cells of the bone. Okay? O kaya yung mga cells ng ating cartilage. Okay? So those are examples, okay, of the cells that um, make up now yung ating connective tissue. Okay? So for the extracellular matrix component, okay, or content, okay, of our connective tissue, they have the most abundant. Okay? So comparing now the connective tissue no with other types of tissue dun sa four basic types natin, siya po yung may pinaka-large or pinakamadaming amount ng um, how we call this one, the extracellular matrix. Okay? And of course, for your connective tissue, they function for support and protection. Okay? So, support, di ba nga, underlying your epithelial tissue is yung inyong connective tissue. So, it actually supports, okay, yung ating epithelium, providing now the necessary nutrients, okay, that the epithelium needed, okay, for metabolism. Okay? And also for protection. Okay? So, later sa mga susunod po na topic natin, i-discuss natin yan. But after po nitong in overview, we will be discussing na doon sa ating epithelial tissue. Okay? So, please memorize this table. Okay? So, guys, now let's have an overview of the epithelium. So, your epithelium is characterized by a closed cell apposition or by closed cell apposition and presence at a free surface. Okay? So, guys, no, yung ating epithelium, kung na-imagine ninyo, sabi niya, closed cell apposition and has a free surface. So, this is the epithelial tissue, di ba? May mga cell po dyan natin. Okay? Yan yung mga cell, kunwari cuboidal, okay? Epithelial cells. Okay? So, meron po sila nung underlying connective tissue. So, we have there the basement membrane and then we have there the lamina propria. So, ito po yung ating epithelial tissue and beneath it or under it, okay, is yung connective tissue natin. Okay? And of course, it has this free surface or yung apical surface natin. This is a free space. Okay? So, epithelial cells are arranged in a single layer or multiple layers. Okay, kaya kung mapapansin niyo mamaya dun sa mga morphology po ng ating epithelial tissue, pwede sila po ay simple o kaya naman ay stratified. So, when we say simple, they're composed of a single layer and stratified, they're made up of multiple layers, two or more layers. Okay? So, they are always contiguous, okay, with one another. So, we can see them, okay, as always, how do you call this one, bound together. Okay, so magkakadikit po sila. Okay, so in addition, they are usually joined by specialized cell-to-cell junctions. So guys, no, mamaya dun sa epithelial tissue, you will be discussed, okay, of the different cell-to-cell junctions. Okay, and I have inserted a video, okay, that will supplement our discussion. Okay, so this is a very good video. It's straightforward and very concise. Okay, so it will present to you, no, the how do you call this one, the different concepts, okay, presented dito sa slide po natin. Okay, so that create now a barrier between your free surface and of course your adjacent connective tissue. So, yung mga cell-to-cell junctions po natin, kung ito po ay isang epithelial cell, okay, sila po ay hindi naghihiwalay, okay, through the junctions po na nandiyan. At ganoon din itong sa kanyang underlying connective tissue dahil may junction din po dito. Okay? So, kumbaga siya yung mga cell-to-cell junctions, sila po yung nagtatagpi, okay, nung cell natin sa kanilang lateral surface at saka dito sa kanilang basal wall. Okay? So, the intercellular space between epithelial cells is minimal, okay, and devoid of any structure except where junctional attachments are present. So, dito tayo. Ito yung tinutukoy po natin, okay? Lateral surface, okay? So, or the intracellular surface. So we have here subclassifications of epithelium, okay, based on the shapes of the cell. So when they are flattened, and usually, no, ito yung mga cells with attenuated nuclei, we have your squamous cells, okay? Cuboidal naman, okay, they almost have equal sides, okay? So cube-like sila, okay? So cuboidal. And then for columnar naman, they are taller than they are wide. Okay, parihaba sila. Tama ba ako? Ganyan po sila. Okay? Okay. For cuboidal, cube-like sila. Okay, para silang mga dice cubes. Ganyan. Okay? Siyempre may mga nucleus dyan. Okay. And then for squamous, they are flattened cells. Okay, so yan po sila. Okay? So, flat cells decay with bulging nuclei. Okay? So, layers are described as either simple. Again, when we say simple cuboidal, single layer sila ng cuboidal cells. Okay? When we say stratified cuboidal, multiple layers of cuboidal cells. Okay? So, more than single layer sila. And pseudostratified. So, guys, no, yung pseudostratified mamaya, makikita nyo, it's actually single layer. Okay? It's it appears like stratified but it's actually single. Bakit naging stratified? Kasi po yung appearance niya. Okay? But you have to take note, it's still a single layer. Okay? Naging stratified siya kasi iba-iba po yung height ng ating ah tawag dito, nung ating cell. Iba-iba po yung kanilang height. Okay? Dahil iba-iba po yung kanilang height, yung yung kanilang nuclei ay nag-a-appear po doon sa iba-ibang level, giving an impression na sila ay multiple layers. Pero, single layer lang sila. Bakit single layer? If you can see, lahat po sila nanggaling sa iisang base. Or galing po sila lahat sa basal, okay, surface. Unlike here, di ba ito, is stratified. You can see ang nagtatouch lang po dito sa basal layer yung nandun sa unang layer, but not the cells na nandito sa itaas. Okay, but with your pseudostratified, lahat po sila okay umabot dito sa basal layer natin. They appear stratified because they have different sizes. Matatangkad yung iba maiksi. And other than that, the nuclei syempre ay kalat-kalat. Okay? So, giving it an impression na ito ay multiple layers. Pero, single layer lang sila. Kaya siya tinawag po na pseudostratified. Okay? So, yan. Okay, connective tissue naman tayo. Okay, it's characterized on the basis of extracellular matrix. So, the connective tissue cells are conspicuously separated, okay, from one another by intervening spaces occupied by your ECM. So, ibig sabihin visible, okay, yung kanilang separation due to the presence of our extracellular matrix. Okay? So, later, pagdating po natin sa connective tissue, we will learn no, about the different types of connective tissue. We have po there your loose connective tissue, your dense connective. Okay? Example, we have here your loose connective tissue. very close po yung association, okay, nung tissue na to with our epithelia. So, underlying yung epithelium natin is yung loose connective tissue natin or yung lamina propria natin. Okay? So, another is your dense connective tissue. So, guys, no, unlike your loose, yung ECM po nung ating dense connective tissue is tightly packed. Okay? Sa loose kasi, um, from the term itself, okay, it's loosely, okay, packed. Unlike nga yung inyong dense connective tissue. So, yung ating mga collagen fibers, okay, so ang components kasi ng extracellular matrix po natin, we have your fibers, okay? So, yung fibers po niya, very loose po siya. Okay, loose po yung kanyang fiber. And of course, at with amounts of ground substance. So, we will know more of that pagdating natin sa connective tissue. Okay? So, and then we also have your dense connective tissue. Other than your loose and connective, we also have other types. So, yung mga specialized connective tissue natin, um, we have your bone, your cartilage. Okay? So, i-discuss po natin lahat yan after nung epithelial tissue. Okay? And finally, we also have here no, yung inyong muscle tissue. So, your muscle tissue is categorized, okay, on the basis of functional property. For your, how you call this one? For your ano na kasi ang term doon, guys. For your muscle tissue kasi, okay, together with your nervous tissue, yung ating categorization kasi is based on, okay, functional property. While for your epithelial and connective tissue, based on morphologic property. Kaya nga kanina, kung maalala nyo, yung ating epithelial tissue, they are classified based on morphology. Simple, cuboidal, multi-layer ba, single layer. That's morphology. Okay? So for connective tissue, loose and dense. So that's morphology. Okay? For your muscular tissue, we have function. Okay? So we have your cardiac, okay, your smooth muscle, and then of course, we have your skeletal muscle. So we classify them based on their function. Okay? And then, most muscles are aggregated into distinct bundles that are easily distinguished from the surrounding tissue. So, kung maalala nyo yung mga fascicles, okay, nung muscle fiber natin, if you still remember that, no, mga ading dun sa inyong anatomy and physiology. So, ito yung bundles na tinutukoy dito. Okay? So, pag-aralan po natin yan, yung muscle structure, pagdating po natin sa muscular tissue. Okay? So, muscle cells are typically elongated, okay, and are oriented with their long axis in the same direction. So, we can also reclassify them or classify them based now on their contractile ability. So, is it voluntary, non-voluntary? What's the pattern, okay, of contraction or of contraction, I should say. Okay, is it forceful? Okay, something like that. Okay, so yun yung mga pag-aralan natin dito pagdating sa muscular tissue. And of course, not to forget adding yung contractile units natin. Okay, so we will learn about the actin, the myosin, 'di ba, the sarcomere, okay? Malala nyo 'yan yung ZDs, okay, your H line, I line, okay? So please no have a review of all of these pagdating natin sa muscular tissue. Okay? And finally, we have your nerve tissue. So they consist of nerve cells and are associated supporting cells, okay, of several types. So of course, tatandaan po natin this one sa nerve tissue, we'll be talking about the central nervous system and of course the peripheral nervous system. Okay? And of course, ang hindi mamatay-matay, okay, na axon and dendrites ng inyong cell neuron. Okay? So we will be studying that again pagdating po natin sa nervous tissue. Okay? So guys, no, ayan sila. Okay? So, yan. Okay? So, guys, no, in the development, okay, of an embryo, okay, meron po tayong, how you call this one? Germ layers, okay, or yeah, the embryo, okay, as it develop, yung kanyang tissues and organs, okay, originate from three germ layers. And those three germ layers are your ectoderm, your mesoderm, and your endoderm. Okay? So guys, know what you need to do with this one is to memorize. Okay? So for your ectoderm, this is the outermost, okay, layer of the three germ layers. Kaya nga sinabi natin, no, in your embryonic development sa gastrulation phase, okay, we call the embryo as trilaminar. Kasi meron po siya nung tatlong germ layers. Okay, and the outermost layer is yung tinatawag po nating ectoderm. Okay, and for your ectoderm, we have two major classes. We have the surface ectoderm and your neuroectoderm. Okay, and then, the middle layer naman, okay, is your mesoderm and the innermost is your endoderm. So, guys, no, please memorize, okay, the different, how you call this one, that the different types of tissues arising from these different types, okay, or different layers, okay, of the trilaminar embryo, okay, or the three germ layers, okay. So for the ectoderm, we have your surface ectoderm, so they give rise now, or it gives rise to the epidermis, okay, and its derivative, okay, including yung hair, nails, and sweat glands, the sebaceous glands, okay, the mucosa of the oral cavity, and etc. Okay, that's for your ectoderm. And then for your um, surface ectoderm, okay, and for neuroectoderm, we have the following naman. Okay, so they arise from the neuroectoderm, and these include now yung ating central nervous components like your um, how do you call this one? The lining, okay, of the brain and the spinal cords, okay? Spinal cord. And of course, your neural crest, okay, and derivatives and other components, okay, of your peripheral nervous system. So, guys, no, please memorize, okay, what are the different types of tissues arising from these neuroectoderm and surface ectoderm. Ganun din po sa ating mesoderm. So again, your mesoderm is the middle layer, okay, of the germ layers of an embryo. So it gives rise to your connective tissues. What else? To organs like your spleen, okay, your kidneys and your gonads, okay. And also we have yung what do you call this one? Yeah, your loose connective tissue, yung dense connective tissue ninyo, bone and cartilage. So dito po sila, okay, sa mesoderm galing. And of course, finally, we have your endoderm. It's the innermost layer of the three germ layers, okay? And it forms now the primitive or the wall of the primitive gut, okay? So it gives rise to epithelial portions or linings of the organs arising from the primitive gut tube, okay, in your primary embryo. So these are the derivatives of your endoderm. We have the alimentary canal, the respiratory system epithelium, the thyroid glands, and other glands such as your thymus and your parathyroid, parenchyma, and of course, your epithelium lining now the cavities, okay, in the ears. Okay, so please memorize all of this. Okay, so guys, this is the overview of um the different or the four basic types of tissues, okay, that we will be studying, okay, in this course. Okay, so this time let me share with you, okay, our next slide. We have no yung ating epithelial tissue. Okay. Okay. So guys, no, kanina we had an overview, okay, of the different types of tissues, the four basic types, okay? So this time let's move on to epithelial tissue. So we have here the principal functions of your epithelial tissues. We have number one, covering, lining, and protecting surfaces. So a very good example, guys, syempre po, is yung skin natin. Okay, what else? The epithelium that lines the organs, okay, of the body. Okay? And then we also have absorption. A very good example is yung epithelium po dun sa ating intestines. Okay? So they function now for absorption. So paano ba na nakukuha ng katawan natin okay, yung nutrients coming from the food that we eat, okay? It's through the function of the epithelium or the epithelial tissue in the intestines, okay? And then we also have secretion. A very good example are the cells, okay, in the tissue or in the tissues, okay, of our glands. So, yung mga exocrine glands po natin, di ba? They secrete, okay, or they secrete now substances, for example, like your sweat, what else? Oil, okay, in your sebaceous, okay? And other types of exocrine glands. And then, of course, contractility in your myoepithelial cells, okay? So, guys, no, we have here also another slide showing us no the functions okay of our epithelial tissues okay and of course the cells okay involved or comprising okay these epithelial tissues. So we have here a let's have a discussion, okay, of the characteristics of epithelial cells. So, guys, no, kanina, we have discussed, di ba, about the four basic types of tissues. And I have mentioned, okay, sa inyo, itong lamina propria. Sabi ko, this is your epithelial tissue, okay, di ba? Yan. Okay, and then we have here the basement membrane. So, underlying these is yung lamina propria nyo. Like, for example, sa mga mucus natin, tissues natin. Okay? So, yan sila. Ito po yung lamina propria. Okay? Your lamina propria is actually your loose connective tissue, okay, that are actually found, okay, beneath nung inyong epithelium. So, the purpose, okay, or the function of this lamina propria is to serve, okay, as a support to our epithelium. So, it provides nutrient, okay, and of course, bind your epithelium to other structures, okay, or to other underlying structures. Okay? So, guys, no, hold on. Saan ba yun? Okay, ayan. So, yung ating lamina propria po, it has no invaginations or yung tinatawag po nating papillae. And these papillae, okay, serves now to increase, okay, yung area of contact nung ating lamina propria doon po sa ating epithelial tissue. Okay? So, we call them your papillae. Okay? So, if this is, sabi ko nga kanina sa inyo, hold on. This is your epithelial tissue. Okay, di ba? We have the basement membrane. We have here the lamina propria. Okay? So, dito po, meron tayo nung mga invaginations. Okay? Or irregularities. So, this increases now the surface contact of your lamina propria. Okay? With your epithelial tissue. Okay? So, guys, no, other than your papillae, okay, we also have no to discuss about the poles, okay, of our epithelial tissue. So we have the basal pole, apical, and lateral surface. So if we're going to draw again, okay, this is the basement membrane, these are your cells. Kakadikit sila, okay? Okay. So guys, no, yan. This is the basal pole, okay? The region that contains now or that contacts with your connective tissue. So, kung ito yung cell po natin, ito po yung kanyang basal pole. Okay? And then, we also have no yung apical pole. This is the apical pole. Itong po, ito ay free surface. Kaya nga tinawag 'di ba yung mga for example, yung mga cilia, mga flagella ninyo as apical appendages kasi they are actually located or found dun sa surface or sa free surface, okay, in the apical pole, okay, of the epithelium. Okay? So, for lateral surface naman, it's the region that adjoins, okay, adjacent cells. So, ito yung lateral surface ng mga cell natin, kung saan po sila nagtabi-tabi. Yan, lateral surface. Okay? So again, this is the basal pole, this is the lateral surface, and then this is the apical pole. Okay? Or yung free space niya. Okay? So, mamaya, para mas maintindihan nyo yung discussion later pag ginamit yung mga terms na to. Okay? So, next, we also have your basement membrane. Okay? So, guys, no, your basement membrane is a felt-like sheet, okay, that is containing now an extracellular material, okay, and it is found in the basal surface, okay, of the epithelial cell. So, tinatawag po siyang basement membrane. Okay? So, adding yung ating basement membrane, meron po siyang dalawang structure. We have what we call as your basal lamina. Okay? Your basal lamina, okay, is described, okay, to contain now network of fine fibrils. Okay? So, adding no yung basal lamina po natin, it has also two components. This is the lamina lucida. Hold on. Lamina lucida and your lamina densa. Okay. So, adding no, yung basal lamina natin, sabi ko, it has two components, the lamina lucida and the lamina densa. So, guys, no, yung lamina lucida, okay, it actually is connected po dun sa ating epithelium. So, kung makikita niyo yung drawing kanina, if this is the epithelial cells, okay, ito po yung epithelial cells natin, 'di ba? Ito po yung basement membrane natin. We have here your basal lamina and the reticular lamina. Yung lamina lucida po natin, siya po yung naka-attach or malapit po dun sa ating epithelial tissue. Okay? While yung ating lamina densa is the one naman nearer doon sa ating underlying connective tissue. Okay? So adding in your electron microscope, your lamina lucida appears lighter, okay, than that of your lamina densa. Your lamina densa, okay, is denser or dense colored, okay, under your electron microscope. Okay? And then that's your basal lamina, okay, in your basal lamina. And then for your reticular lamina naman, we have it's a more diffuse, okay, and a fibrous layer, and it actually contains no collagen. Okay? So, mga collagen fibers, kaya fibrous. Okay? Itong layer po na ito. Okay? So, guys, now we have here a slide showing to us now the macromolecule components of your laminae or yung basal lamina natin. So, adding itong basal lamina natin, okay, di ba basement membrane, we have the basal lamina here, we have the reticular lamina. So, itong basal lamina po natin, contains laminin, type 4 collagen, and also yung glycoproteins natin like entactin and your perlacan. Okay? So, and proteoglycans. Okay? So, guys, no, yung, di ba sabi ko sa inyo, yung basal lamina natin, it has two parts. We have the lamina lucida, the lighter, which is the lighter part, and the lamina densa, which is the denser part. Okay? So, adding yung lamina lucida natin, nandun po yung laminin. Okay, so laminin are large glycoprotein molecules, okay, that assemble like lace-like sheets. Okay? And then, in your lamina densa naman, we have there po yung type 4 collagen natin. Okay? So, these type 4 collagens are held together with our glycoproteins and proteoglycans, your entactin and your perlecan. Okay? So, ulitin ko, yung basal lamina po natin, it has two layers. We have your lamina lucida and lamina densa. In your lamina lucida, it's the lighter, okay, portion. Ito po ay merong laminin. In your lamina densa, it contains now yung mga type 4 collagen natin. Okay? But of course, in your lamina lucida, it also contains no itong mga adhesive glycoproteins natin, okay, and proteoglycans. Okay? So, yan. Okay. So guys, no, next we have your reticular lamina. So yung reticular laminae naman natin, it contains po type 3 collagen and type 7. So yung type 3 collagen natin, these are your reticular fibrils, okay? And your type 7 naman are your anchoring fibril. Okay? So yun po yung component ng ating basement membrane. Ano nga ulit? Ulitin ko, yung basement membrane po natin, meron siyang basal lamina at saka meron po siya yung reticular lamina. Si basal lamina po, meron po siya nung lamina lucida at lamina densa na naglalaman po nung mga laminin natin, yung type 4 collagen at saka yung mga proteoglycans at glycoproteins natin. Okay? And for your reticular laminae naman, it has now your reticular fibrils and anchoring fibrils o yung type 3 at type 7 collagen natin. Okay? So ano ba yung function ng basement membrane? Okay? So the basement membrane, guys, no, has a primary function to anchor, okay, yung ating epithelium. So siya po yung parang uh, nag what do you call this one, nag-stabilize, okay, nung ating epithelial tissue sa kanyang underlying connective tissue. Kasi 'di ba ito yung ano, yung epithelial tissue natin, sa basal wall niya andito yung basement membrane at sa baba po niyan is yung ating connective tissue. Example, yung lamina propria ninyo. Okay? So it's the one that's stabilizing now. Okay? Or the one that anchors, okay, itong epithelial tissues natin dito sa underlying connective tissue. Okay? So your how do you call this one? Your basement membrane also serves no as a mechanical barrier. Okay? So it prevents now yung mga malignant cells natin from invading deeper tissues. So it has this function, okay, of how you call this one? Limiting, okay, yung invasion ng malignant cells. Like for example, if that's an epithelial malignancy, hanggang dun lang siya sa epithelium. Hanggat hindi nasisira yung integrity ng basement membrane natin, hindi po siya pupunta sa deeper tissue natin. Okay? So, yun yung function niya. It also serves as a mechanical barrier. Okay? So, others, we have it influence cell metabolism and survival, pathways for cell migration. Okay? So, yeah. So, hold on, guys. Okay. So guys, no, before or siguro madalas, okay, baka marinig nyo later, madalas na interchange nila yung basal lamina sa word na basement membrane. Tandaan nyo, si basal lamina po ay isang component lang ni basement membrane. Di ba si basement membrane ay basal lamina plus reticular lamina. Okay? Ang nakikita po natin sa light microscope ay basement membrane. Okay, ibig sabihin, hindi natin nakikita si basal lamina. Bakit? Kasi 'di ba ang basement membrane ganito po siya. Okay? Basal lamina yung isang half, yung isa is reticular lamina. Okay? So, if you're using only your light microscope, then ang na-observe mo itong buo na to. Okay? And that's your basement membrane. Pero if you want to observe your basal lamina alone, okay? Kung gusto mo siyang makita, hindi mo po pwedeng makita yon sa light microscope mo. You have to use your transmission electron microscope. Okay? So again, magkaiba po si basement membrane at basal lamina. When we say basal lamina, yung dinedescribe ng histologist, then more likely the image is under your TEM. Pero when it's a basement membrane, baka nga it's from your light microscope. Okay? So, para hindi natin mapagpalit, okay, yung mga terms. Okay? So guys, no, we have here then the different junctions, okay, na that how do you call this one, that holds no our epithelial cells together. Okay? 'Di ba sabi ko nga sa inyo, ito yung ating epithelial cells. Nagkakabit po sila or nagjo-join sila together. Naging ganun din sa kanilang basement membrane at connective tissue through junctions. So sila yung nagko-connect sa mga 'to. Okay, yan. Okay? So guys, no, we have various, okay, junctions. Okay, we have your occluding junctions, your adhesive or anchoring junctions, and your gap junctions. Okay, so andyan na po yung kanilang definition when we say occluding junctions. Okay, we're referring now to junctions that prevent, okay, the flow of material between cells. So dito, okay, pinipigilan po niya yung flow ng material. If this is, okay, the cell, and this is another cell. Yung ating occluding junction, sila po yung pinakauna dito sa taas. So they prevent now the flow of material dito sa pagitan ng dalawang cell po natin. Okay? We also have your site of adhesions. We have your adhesive or anchoring junctions. Okay? So adding yung anchoring junctions natin, they interact now with actin and your, how you call this one? Your intermediate filaments. Okay, so anong purpose nila? Their purpose is to provide now the mechanical stability. Okay, so ibig sabihin, they make these two cells here stable together. Okay, by connecting now their cytoskeleton to their how do you call this one? By connecting cytoskeleton to cytoskeleton. So ibig sabihin, the cytoskeleton of this one to this other cell, okay, to make them more stable, okay? And then, of course, we have your channels for communication. We have your gap junctions, okay? So, ito naman is for cell-to-cell communication. So, ano naman yung function nila? They function now in the diffusion, okay, of molecules like ions, okay, yung sugars natin, nucleotides natin. Okay? So, malalay nyo guys yung sa endocytosis. Okay? So, dito sila okay, involved. Okay? So, those are your junctions. Okay, so guys, no, I have here a video from Lecturio. This is a very, very nice video. It's very good. Okay, so please do watch it. Okay, kasi it actually is presenting now the contents. Okay, na meron din dito sa mga slides po natin. Okay, so we have here, but before that, okay, if you want, no, sorry, before clicking yung link, okay, let's just have an overview. So we have here, no, the different junctions. We have your zonula occludens. Ito po yung occluding junctions natin. Okay, sila usually yung nasa upper portion. We also have your zonula adherens or also known as your zonulae adherentes. Okay, minsan ganun yung tawag sa kanya. And then, your macula adherens. Okay? Adding or your desmosome. So, guys, no, ito yung occluding junction ninyo, kung maalala nyo pa. Ito naman, yung zonal adherens ninyo at macula adherens po ninyo, they are actually adding, no, your adhesive or anchoring junctions. Okay? So please have a review of these, okay? And then also we have here the picture. So kung makikita nyo, we have the tight junction. Ito po yung inyong zonula occludens, 'di ba? So it prevents now entry of molecules, okay, or substances between the cell dito. So nandyan siya sa itaas, okay? Also have there your adherent junctions, okay? And then nandyan po yung ating desmosome, okay? And your gap junction. Okay? So we also have there your gap junctions. Okay, so guys, no, please memorize all of these. Okay, and for the discussion, okay, please click the link below to watch the lecturio discussion. Okay, so maganda po yung discussion dito. Okay, or if you do not want to proceed muna, okay, with this discussion, you can watch it later po dun sa suggested self-directed activities. Okay? But of course, don't forget to read din yung mga previous slide natin kasi pareho po sila. Okay? So, guys, also, do not forget to memorize itong table po natin dito. So, if you can see here, we have here the four junctions, your tight junctions or your zonula occludens, your adherent junction, okay? And then we have your desmosome and your gap junction. So, adding nakalagay po dito, what are the major transmembrane proteins? Okay, for tight junction, we have your occludins, claudins, CO proteins. For your adherent junctions, we have your cadherin and your catenin. Okay? For your desmosomes, we have your cadherin. And for gap junctions, we have your connexin. Okay? And saan po sila nakiki-interact? What cytoskeletal components po sila nakiki-interact? So, tatandaan ninyo, for tight junction and adherent junctions, we have actin filaments. And for your desmosomes, we have your intermediate filaments like your keratin. Okay? So for gap junctions, none. Okay? And for major functions, we have here. Okay? So andito po yung ating major functions. Okay? Nung ating mga junctions. Okay? So guys, again, you may click the link now to listen to the discussion about cellular junctions. Okay? So this time we have now yung mga specializations of the apical surface. 'Di ba kanina sinabi natin we have the following characteristic of the epithelium. Ito yung mga epithelial cells natin, ito po yung kanilang lateral surface, itong side. Ito yung kanilang basal pole, and this is the apical surface or the apical pole. And this is the free surface. And dito po natin nakikita yung mga apical appendages like these ones na i-discuss po natin. Okay? So we have your microvilli. So your microvilli are delicate vertical striations. Okay? So they are actually prominent, okay, in cells, okay, or in tissues that function for absorption. So, a very good example po, adding, is yung intestinal epithelium natin at saka yung epithelium ng ating kidney. Malala nyo sa kidney natin, di ba, yung mga kidney tubules natin, their function also, or they also function for absorption. Okay? So, for example, when the body hydration is low, okay, the kidney tubules, okay, has the function of um, reabsorbing, okay po, yung water natin. Okay, that's to limit water loss kasi nga low yung body hydration mo. Okay, that is to preserve water in the body. Okay, so yung type ng apicals appendage na meron po sa kanila are your microvilli, or like for example in the intestine, and we call them your brush borders. So these are finger-like, okay, processes. Okay, so next, hold on. Okay. Another is yung inyong stereocilia. Okay, so guys, now your stereocilia are long piriform tuft of slender processes, okay, that project, okay, into the lumen of each cell. So, ito po yung epithelium natin. Kung makikita po natin dito, adding, ito sila, yung mga stereocilia natin. Okay? So, guys, no, tatandaan nyo, a very good example of tissue with this stereocilia are those that are found sa ears po natin. And they function now for sensory. Okay? Yung ating stereocilia. Okay? So, next, we also have here your cilia. So for your cilia, no, we have three types. We have your primary cilium or primary cilia, motile cilia, and yung tinatawag na ding nodal cilia. Yung nodal cilia po, nodal, N-O-D-A-L, na nakikita po natin ito sa embryo. Okay? So we discuss itong dalawa. Yung primary cilia po natin, they are non-motile. Okay? So they are enriched with receptors and signal transduction complexes. So adding yung mga primary cilium po natin, they are actually chemosensors, osmosensors, and mechanosensors. Okay? So it means they mediate now sensation, odorant, and sound perception. Okay? So, in the different regions of our body. So, again, primary cilium are non-motile. They are usually chemosensors, osmosensors, and and mechanosensors. Okay? So, they mediate, okay, sensation, odorant, and of course, uh, sound, sensation of light, odorant, and sound. Okay? And then we also have your motile cilia, and they are usually found and are found, okay, in abundance po dun sa ating epithelia. So they are usually found dun sa mga cuboidal or columnar cells po natin. Okay? So Example, yung sa GIT natin, okay, yung mga motile cilia. Okay? So, ang difference niya, syempre motile, etong primary cilium po ninyo, they're non-motile. Okay? So, your motile cilia in the cuboidal or columnar cells function now in propelling fluid. Like, for example, in GIT, they function in propelling fluid. Okay? So, yan. Okay. But So next, we have the major covering epithelia. So guys, no, I have here the link of the video, okay, that you can watch. This is the same, no, with the contents of our slide. But before, no, moving dun sa susunod po na topic, okay, I will just have to present to you what are the things that you have to review and you have to know about this covering epithelia. Okay, so adding again, your epithelium can be classified, or the epithelial tissues can be classified as either covering or lining epithelia and secretory epithelia. Okay, so guys, anong memorizing nyo dito? Dito sa slides natin, sa covering or lining epithelia, pakikabisado po, ano yung different types of lining epithelium? Is it simple? Is it columnar? Is it stratified? Is it simple columnar? Simple cuboidal? Okay? Saan nakikita yung simple cuboidal? Saan nakikita yung ating mga simple columnars? What are the different tissues or different organs that has this type of epithelial tissues? Okay? So, ganun din yung sa secretory or glandular epithelium natin. So, guys, no, for the covering epithelia or epithelial cells or epithelial tissues, I should say, I have here the link, okay, from Lecturio. So just please click this, okay? This is a very concise discussion of your covering epithelia, okay? So you may watch it now or you may watch it later. Okay, I will just have to present to you kung ano yung mga aaralin po natin dito and what are the things, okay, na importanteng alamin. Okay, so guys, no, again, for the classification of covering epithelium, we can classify them as are according to the number of cell layers. So they can be simple, pseudostratified, or stratified. Again, pag sinabi po nating simple, they have single layer. Pag sinabi po nating stratified, they have multiple layers. At pag pseudostratified, single layer pa rin po yan. Pero it appears na stratified siya dahil yung ating cells, iba-iba yung height po nila at iba-iba yung placement ng kanilang nucleus, giving an impression na siya ay multiple layer or stratified, pero single layer talaga siya. Okay? And for cell morphology, we have squamous, cuboidal, columnar, and your transitional. Okay? So, yung transitional example po is dun sa ating urinary bladder. Okay? So, guys, no, yeah, I have the link here again. You may watch it now or after I present to you the important points. Okay, so this is a picture showing you now the different morphology of your epithelium. Okay, so uulitin ko, di ba, kung maalala nyo kanina, when we are to discuss nervous tissue and muscle tissue, we're discussing function. Pero when we're discussing connective tissue and your epithelial tissue, we classify them based on morphology. So for epithelial tissue, after knowing the different morphologic appearances of your epithelial tissues, please memorize yung localization or anong mga exact or anong saang location or anong mga organs merong ganitong mga epithelial tissue. Okay? So for simple epithelia, we have your simple squamous, simple cuboidal, and simple columnar. So guys, no, please memorize the distribution. Okay? Tissue distribution. So for simple squamous, ano yung mga yon? Ito po sila. Examples of distribution. Nakikita natin sila sa endothelium, sa mesothelium, sa mesenchymal. Okay? And then their functions. Okay? For cuboidal, saan sila nakikita? sa covering ng ovary, thyroid follicles, choroid plexus, and etc. Okay? So guys, no, lumalabas ito madalas sa board exam. What is the type of epithelium found in your thyroid gland? Ang answer po natin ay simple cuboidal. Okay? Ito siya malabas madalas sa boards. Okay? So, yan. Simple columnar, we have here the definition and the distribution. Memorizing po ninyo ito. Okay? By heart. So, the type of epithelial tissue in your kidney tubules. Is it simple columnar, simple cuboidal? Something like that. Okay? So, pinapresent ko lang po siya sa inyo. Okay? Kasi ito nga, kailangan nyo po siyang kabisaduhin. Okay? So, stratified columnar. Okay, so example, we have in the conjunctiva and your transitional. Okay, so guys, no, for transitional epithelia, we have in the bladder, the ureter, and the renal calyces. And of course, the main function, memorize that also. Okay, and then pseudo stratified. Okay, so lining of trachea, bronchi, and your nasal cavity. Okay, so guys, no, again, I have here the link. Okay, you may click it now. Okay, to listen to the discussion about your covering epithelia. Okay, so don't forget to memorize the tissue distribution. Okay, and then we also have here the secretory epithelia and the glands. So guys, no, here is the link naman for the discussion of your secretory epithelia and glands, especially your exocrine glands. Okay, so you may click the link now to listen to the lecture. So this is a very, very nice video kasi po yung presentation niya, same lang po doon sa ating mga lecture slides. Okay, or yung slides po dito sa presentation natin. Okay, if you do not want to watch it now, you may listen po muna dun sa aking overview for you to know, okay, saan po yung mga important points natin. Okay? So, for glandular epithelium, guys, we have no two major categories. We have your exocrine and your endocrine. I believe, no, in your anatomy and physiology, you have been discussed, okay, of their difference. So, pag exocrine, they deliver their product into a system of ducts. And for endocrine, they release their product, okay, into the blood or the lymph. So for acrine naman, we're referring here to cells that discharge now yung kanilang components, okay? Uh, or I mean cells that do not discharge, okay, their components through a gland, okay? So example po yung granular leukocytes natin and our phagocytes, okay? So, yan. Okay? So, guys, no, please, no, go over po natin itong slides na to, but in the discussion, idinidiscuss po ito. Okay? Dun sa link na binigay ko kanina. Ilalabas ko ulit siya mamaya sa end. Okay? So, we also have here your endocrine glands. Okay? Bago po tayo pumunta sa exocrine. Your endocrine glands, guys, no, produce, no, the different, how we call this one, different hormones. Okay, so please no try to familiarize yourself, okay, with the different hormones in the body. So your different hormones can be pure proteins, they can be glycoproteins, they can be amines. Okay, so for endocrine cells secreting polypeptide pure protein hormones, okay, example of that adding is yung growth hormone po natin. Saan po? Okay, we have in your pituitary gland. Okay? Endocrine cells that secrete naman glycoprotein hormones, they have daw abundance, okay, of your endoplasmic reticulum. Okay? So, adding saan po ito? We have po, or ano po yung mga example? We have example of your glycoprotein hormones, yung luteinizing hormone ninyo, your thyroid stimulating hormone, and your follicular stimulating hormone. Okay? Saan po sila na po produce? Sa pituitary gland po natin. Okay? What else? We also have here your endocrine cells secreting steroid hormone. Ano po example ng mga cells natin or glands, endocrine glands natin that produces steroid hormones? Example, yung testis natin, 'di ba? Yung mga androgens natin, they are steroid hormones. Okay, what else? We have the ovaries, okay, producing now yung estrogen natin. Okay? What else? We have also your adrenal gland. Okay, in its adrenal cortex, it produces now hormones like your glucocorticoids. Okay, so they are examples of steroid hormones. Okay? And then for endocrine cells secreting biochemical amines, so sabi po niya dyan, they are located within the cytoplasm or within the secretory granules, and the contents are usually released, okay, by exocytosis. So adding examples no of hormones, okay, that are amines, okay, in component or content, we have po yung melatonin ninyo. Okay? Your melatonin is produced by your pineal gland. Okay, what else? We have the catecholamines. Okay, yung epinephrine norepinephrine ninyo produced in your adrenal gland in its pituitary portion. Okay, what else? We have those that are produced by your thyroid gland. We have your thyroxine, your triiodothyronine. Okay, so those are examples of your amines. Okay, so please take note of that. Okay, so sinasabi ko lang po sila because this will serve, okay, as your foundation pagdating po ninyo sa CC3 or sa clinical chemistry in endocrinology. At least alam nyo ano yung mga steroid hormones, saan sila napoproduce, ano yung biochemical amines, saan sila napoproduce. Okay? So, endocrine glands. Okay? And then we also have the classification of glands. We have unicellular versus multicellular. So, guys, andun po siya sa ating lecture discussion. You may watch it now, okay? So, andyan po siya. And for the multicellular glands adding, no, it has many classifications, okay? They can exhibit complex arrangements. So, pwedeng sila po ay simple or yung compound na tinatawag. Okay? Again, your multicellular glands, we are referring po dito to your exocrine glands. Okay? They can be simple or compound. Okay? They can have multiple or complex arrangements. Sorry. Mul complex, okay, arrangements. Okay, yung mga multicellular glands natin. Okay? So, please to watch, okay, the discussion. Okay? So, guys, if hindi nyo pa papanoorin po yung discussion, ipo-point out ko lang ano po dito yung mga importante. Just like in the covering epithelial tissues, please do memorize, guys. Ano yung examples ng exocrine glands natin na ang shape ay um, simple o kaya compound. Okay? So, is it simple tubular? Is it an example of a cold tubular gland? Is it an example of a compound tubular, a compound acinar, or a compound tubuloacinar? Okay? So, please memorize. So, we have it here. You can browse this slide. Okay? And these were actually presented or will be presented to you doon po sa ating inserted video. You just have to click the link okay, below. Okay? So, we have here, example, the simple tubular. Ano po siya? We have examples, the mucus gland of the colon, and then the intestinal gland or crypts of Libercan. Okay? We also have your branch tubular. Okay? So, anong example? Uterus and the stomach. Okay? Simple coiled tubular. Example, we have the sweat glands. Okay? Simple acinar or alveolar. Example, we have the small mucus gland along the urethra. Okay? And for compound, ganun din, memorize nyo ano yung example ng compound tubular glands. We have here your kidney, your testis, your liver. Okay? Examples of compound acinar or alveolar. Example, we have the mammary gland. Okay? Example of compound tubuloacinar. We have the salivary glands. Okay? So guys, please memorize those. Okay? And then of course, classification of exocrine glands. according to the way the secretory products leave the cell. Again, andyan pa rin po siya sa discussion natin dito sa link below. Okay, you can watch that. So we also have here an overview. So merocrine, tandaan ninyo, if it's merocrine secretion, there is maintained integrity. Pagka-release po nung gland ng kanyang secretion, na-maintain po niya yung structure, okay, yung constituent cells. Hindi sila nasisira. Okay? Pag holocrine naman, there is complete destruction. Example, in the seminiferous epithelium of the testis. Pagka-release po ng spermatozoa, kasama po lahat, okay, nung mga components ng cells natin. Okay? So, complete destruction. That's holocrine. Okay? And for partial destruction naman, okay, we have examples no sa mammary gland and sa axillary sweat glands. We call it your apocrine secretion. Pag secrete po niya, there is partial destruction, okay, doon sa ating constituent cells, okay, sa gland. Okay? So, still, these things, okay, are discussed po dun sa inserted video natin. Okay? So, maging ganun din po ito. Okay? So, the different types of um, or classifications, okay, of glands according to nature of secretory products. Okay, so again, guys, tatandaan ninyo for the uh, glandular epithelium and the covering epithelium, please memorize the different classifications for covering epithelium based on the layer. Is it simple? Is it stratified? Is it simple cuboidal, simple columnar, simple um, squamous? Okay? O kaya naman stratified cuboidal ba siya? Stratified columnar ba siya? Okay? So, saan mo siya nakikita? Okay? So, distribution. Memorize that. So, with your glands. Okay? Memorize nyo. Anong exocrine gland ang tubuloacinar? Anong exocrine gland ang compound alveolar? Anong exocrine gland ang compound or simple alveolar? Okay, so please memorize the distribution. Okay, so guys, no, don't forget to watch, okay, the links or the videos na may mga link po okay na andito sa ating recorded lecture. If, for example, hindi nyo po siya nahabol, okay, you may visit po yung ating suggested self-directed activities and you may click, okay, the links po. Okay, or you may watch the videos po there. So guys, don't forget to visit them yung ating simulation. Okay, we have there the microscope environment. Please view no the suggested slides for you. Okay? Related pa rin po dito sa ating topic, we have the epithelial tissue. Okay? So please don't forget to watch our inserted videos. Okay? That's all for our epithelial tissue. Okay, good day.